at the start of this journey, you're experiencing so much pain and loss. You want to explain yourself to people. You feel the need to show them that you fought, that you stayed in the ring and fought, and that you did your best. And you don't want to appear like a quitter. You don't want to appear like someone who just gave up easily. And in that place, what you do is you find yourself talking a bit more than you need to. And I'm not saying you're exaggerating stories or you're creating stories, but I'm saying talking too much in the hope of being understood, because you want to repaint this picture to this person who did not walk with you the journey so they understand your pain. And by the way, that is impossible, because they are not you. They do not know what you went through. And so for them, it will just be a story. Even the impact, even the weight of it will not be as heavy as you think you are able to communicate. You can't. They couldn't understand your pain. But you're desperately wanting to be understood at that point. And so it's very easy to find that you're talking too much. Now, at that point, you will find that people want to come and ask, what happened? Thought you guys were okay. And so we focus there and talk about the other party's mistakes and shortcomings and everything else. But because of the intensity of people asking and you answering and you sitting there for hours and talking and repeating, what happens is you hardly have time to consider what your actions were. And in places where you will feel that maybe you acted, maybe where you're able to bring out a certain thing that you did that was not either right or did not sound right or did not look right or may have hurt the other partner, what you do is you find yourself glossing over your shortcomings and your failure and the poor judgment or whatever it is that you did that hurt the other person. So we gloss over it, and we give it an excuse, giving it a reason. We say, yeah, it's because they did this that I just had to do this. So, what did this person think I would do? By the way, if you like the content that I've been sharing, hit the like button. This way, the message can reach more people. And so the more you talk, if it takes you weeks and months and years, you will not stop long enough to look at yourself, to look into you and see, what is this? Where is this? Why am I placing myself on such a high pedestal and making it sound like the other party is the only one who failed? And so what I noticed that kind of talking for weeks, for months, for years, what it does is that it slows your healing down. Because think about a wound. If you have a wound and you give it a bit of time, a few days, a few weeks, it grows a scab. Now, if you peel out the scab, what will happen is that it will bring back the rawness. It will have healed, a little section of it will have healed 3-4 days later, but the rawness there's still a part which will be very raw, which will ooze out something. And so what happens is, as you're healing in this journey, though you're not seeing the scar as such, it's not a physical scar, you're seeing inside of you, every time you make a few steps, a few months, steps of healing, and you go back to a season of talking about what happened to me, this is what happened, this is how, every time you do that, you take quite a few steps back. It could be months, steps back. It could be years, steps back. And so the healing that would have happened within a certain amount of time is now prolonged, is now made very long because of your actions. So for me, I had to learn, unfortunately, through my experience, which is what I share. And this is what I would want to save somebody else and spare them from unnecessary sitting in this place for too long. And so the more you talk, the more you keep going back and almost going back to the beginning of the journey, and the pain and the tears and everything is fresh. The more you talk, you remember you're very, very vulnerable. It's very easy for you to talk to the wrong person, to lean on the wrong shoulder, and you will get into further trouble. The more you talk, remember this. Not everyone who says, what happened? I thought you guys were okay. Not everyone who says that really cares. Some are here to just listen to the story. A few will go whole, very few by the way, will go whole, and kneel down and cry for you in prayer. But a majority, it will just be another event. And because they have their own lives, even the ones who care, they will still move on with their lives. But so when you think about how much you have talked to people, you want to stop and while and ask yourself, I think I need to stop, I need to slow down. And it is important to talk because you need somewhere where you can just let this pain come out of, but you must know who you're talking to. You cannot be talking to 5 people about your pain. A good number of those 5 people are not the right people to talk. If you're here as an audience, you're the one who is listening to this person who is hurting. Well, it's important for you to listen to them. But if this person I'm listening to who is really hurting says something that I don't think so, is not how I would handle a situation, I may let them talk, but I will also correct that by sharing an alternative, pointing out, I think, instead of, well, it's true this person hurting this way, when you talked about this part here, I think that you maybe should have handled it a little differently. Whichever way you say it, with sensitivity. But it is important because whether that person is, most likely they will not welcome that because they are hurting and they need someone to be sympathetic. But now here you are taking a certain position and pointing out their mistake. Even if they don't appreciate it, they will be left with something in their minds to think about. So if you're the audience, think about the kind of audience you are. Are you one who will fuel this situation so that the stories just go on and on and on? Are you somebody who maybe will listen and also be very measured at that point in terms of how you react, what you say, so that this person then is helped? Because as long as they have an audience which allows them to go on, they will go on. But if you want to help someone, I believe here, there's a place at which you have to move on from this bad situation. There's a point at which we have to move on and say, okay, that has happened. Now what? And we work constantly. And it's not an easy thing. It's not one thing that we will talk about one day and then the following day we are talking about something different. It's a journey. It's a process. Like that wound, it doesn't heal overnight, but at least we can place us on the right path of healing. So if you're in this place and you're talking, think about it like this. Years later, you'll wonder why you spoke to certain people. I'm speaking from a place of hindsight. I can say, do better than me.